Good morning, everybody. My name is Dan Daskier. I'm the president of CAT Engineering. So today, I would like to talk to you guys about bridging the workforce gap in construction management. So before I would like to start the presentation with a little video about what is.
Hey there, future engineers. Have you ever driven down a smooth, perfectly paved highway and thought about who makes it all possible? Sure, we often think about the engineers and construction crews, but today, I want to shine a spotlight on the unsung heroes of highway construction, the inspectors. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly does a highway construction inspector do? Well, let me break it down for you. Inspectors are the guardians of quality and safety. They're the ones ensuring that every inch of that highway meets stringent standards. From the foundation to the final layer of asphalt, inspectors are there at every step, meticulously checking materials, methods, and workmanship. Imagine this. You're an inspector on a major highway project. Every day you're out there in the field, armed with your clipboard and a keen eye for detail. You scrutinize everything, from the soil compaction test to the alignment of the crushed pavement. If something's not up to code, you're the one who catches it and gets it fixed before it becomes a problem. But it's not just about catching mistakes. Inspectors also ensure that the construction process is efficient and within budget. They collaborate with engineers and contractors to solve problems on the fly, making sure the project stays on track. In essence, they're the glue holding the entire operation together. Let's not forget the ultimate goal, safety. A well-constructed highway isn't just about smooth rides, it's about saving lives. Inspectors play a crucial role in making sure that every guardrail, every lane marking, and every sign is in place and up to standard. Their work helps prevent accidents and ensures that you and everyone else can travel safely. So the next time you're cruising down the highway, take a moment to appreciate the detailed work behind it. Remember, it's not just the engineers and the construction crews, it's also those dedicated inspectors working tirelessly to ensure that our highways are safe, reliable, and built to last. And for all you engineering students out there, consider a career as a construction inspector. It's a challenging yet incredibly rewarding path where you can make a tangible impact on infrastructure and public safety. Thanks for tuning in. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, comment, and share. Let's celebrate the unsung heroes of highway construction. Until next time, stay curious and keep building the future.
So I hope you guys understand about what we're trying to talk about today here. So today we're trying to talk about how we can train and bring on construction inspector into construction management. So as you all know, many of you sitting in this room have been working in the DOT industry for years now. We all know right now, DOT and IDA, we're having historical funding for improving our infrastructure in Illinois. So with that, we also come with a challenge. So the challenge we see in construction is we're having a lot of employee shortage right now in construction, especially in inspector. A lot of civil engineer, we also have shortage in civil engineer as well. And most of civil engineers are prefer doing design in the office, or they prefer work remotely. And then also a lot of time, even be able to bring in young engineer to the construction side to do inspection. Most of them expect to be promoted to be a RE level in a 1 or 2 seasons. But anybody who work in the construction know that you need 1 or 2 seasons to be a resident engineer. So another problem that I see and we see and over the year in construction is a lot of young engineers who came on the job site is lack of training. So because we have a lot of work coming out here, we are hiring young engineers because of the demand. A lot of time company doesn't have time to train the inspector before they go to the job site. So when they go to the job site, even though they're engineer, they're able to watch a video and be documentation certified by IDA, but they not necessarily know what to do when they come to the job site. So we have a lot of instances where we have engineer come to the job site and then the engineer told them that go out and do depth check, and they don't know what that means. And also the problem we see is, as you all know, most of our RE have multiple jobs now. They just not just obviously one job, they have multiple jobs. So that means they don't have time to train the young engineer. So the young engineer out there on the job site on their own, try to figure out what to do, how to do. And as you all know, construction is a very fast pace. Everything happens so fast you don't have time to learn when the operation is going on. So you need to be prepared. To be able to prepare, you need to have training and understanding of what your role and responsibilities. So I see that some young engineer, when they go to construction, because they lack training, they lack support from their supervisor or from a senior level engineer, and then it kind of make them feel like they don't want to be construction. Construction is not the right place for them. And then they start looking to going back to the office to be a designer. So that's kind of like make the shortage in the employee, pool for the civil engineer side. So what should we do? So in CAD engineering, we try to, as engineer, right, we very rigid, we solve problems. So at CAD engineering, we think that we need to think outside the box. Right now in Illinois, for all the consultants, we need to think outside the box. How can we bridge that gap? We need to bridge that gap, bring on a new pool of technician, inspector who love to work in the field and who are eager to learn about the industry because it's new to them, and also educate them about the potential in this career path and in this industry. So, and also, we need to provide hands-on training to our young engineer, entry-level engineer, and the technician in the job so that they understand what's the expectation and how to prepare for the operation and inspection when they're at the job site. And also, right now, we all talk about young generation is very much about technology, on the phone, or, playing video games. So there's a lot of lack of in-person communication skill. So that's another thing that we teach in our class is we want to teach our young engineer and inspector how to communicate with contractor. How do you collaborate with your team, right, between your resident engineer, your senior inspector, and your colleague? And then with that, with the training and hands-on training and soft skill training, they have some more knowledge, understand what they're supposed to do, and they gain confidence, right? Once they gain confidence, they can perform better, and they will continue to be interested in construction. So, most of you know that, right? To be an inspector working in the construction project, you have to be IDOT certified by Illinois Center for Transportation. So right now, we are providing an online self-paced study where you can watch the video online, and they provide you PDF reference and workbook. Pretty much, it's self-study. You watch the video, you learn, and you have to take a 2-hour exam, and you have to pass 70% to get a certification. And once you get certification, it'll be good for 4 years, and you have to take it again in 4 years. So that's very good for documentation side. So the benefit of having this self-paced study, self-paced video is flexibility, right? Everybody love the flexibility, do it whenever they want, and they provide great resource and reference. But the problem with that is, especially for people who have never been in the construction side, it's very important to have that interaction between the teacher by asking questions and confirming that you understand the material correctly, so you don't make mistakes, and also working with your teammate or your classmate to solve problems together. And also the video and the material only show you how to document, how you calculate, what is the requirement of the IDOT side. But it didn't teach you how to apply that knowledge in the field. It didn't teach you what you're supposed to look for when you're construction side. So our training program, where we provide a more interactive classroom setting, where the student and the teacher can ask questions and work together and solve a problem. We provide cradle to grave approach, where we take the inspector from the beginning of the job to the end of the job, so they understand what needs to be done. And we provide them with real life experience. We take them to the job site, and sometimes we're also able to take them to the construction site to see what's happening. So what's really in the construction and inspection training? So we are teaching the student, the engineer, the technician, how to cross-reference, right? We teach them how to look at the plan, how to cross-reference within the plan, the contract document and the standard specification to IDOT so that they know how to inspect the contractor's work when they're out on the job site. So, and we also teach them how to measure and document to prepare for the inspector daily report for the contractor's work so they can, do the payment. And we also try to do a little bit like press study course with the student too to help them to assist them so they can pass the documentation certification because there are some questions, some calculation that is kind of hard to understand. So we try to help the student to prepare for that. So right now we are doing level 1, which is only HMA resurfacing inspection training. We will be providing level 2 with PCC payment and then bridge inspection, bridge construction and rehab. I have been teaching the class for the last 2 years now, and I have 20 years experience in the industry, 10 years in design and planning phases, and 10 years in construction. And Truman Price is our senior resident engineer who has 34 years experience with IDOT in construction. So for the HMA resurfacing inspection training, for an engineer it's a 3-day class. For a technician it's a 6-day class. For the reason being, for a technician, somebody just graduated from high school, doesn't have any engineering background. So the first 2-3 days we will do like review on the map, and then teach them how to look at the plan and spec, pretty much prepare them for kind of like, prepare for the engineering calculation, what we need for the job. And then the last 3 days will be review plan, contract, and how to do inspection. For the engineer, they already have the background, engineering background from college, so we don't have to go into detail. So the 3 days strictly just how to do inspection on the project site. So when we talk about hands-on experience, so what that means is, so we will go through the process of a project from the beginning to end. So we will take the student now to the job site, learn how to lay out the project, right? Station the job site, lay out the patching, lay out the sidewalk, the curb removal, laying out, and also show them how to convey that roadway into a paper, right? It's not that easy. When you have a class, you just draw a sidewalk, a rectangular shape, length and width is very easy. But when you go out to the job site, you see the curve, you see all different kind of shape. So the student have to know how to convey that into a piece of paper so that when the auditor reviews the calculation, they know exactly what that is. So we also teach them the construction sequence. What that means is, so before so we can look at, okay, so we look at the contractor progress schedule. Supposedly they're doing a sidewalk removal replacement. So the inspector need to know what kind of spec and what article they need to look at, what kind of calculation they need to prepare, and what kind of depth check and material inspection. So you need to prepare all that before the operation happens. So on the day of the operation, we also show the student when the concrete comes, before the concrete comes, how do you inspect the base, how do you inspect the form and the depth check, and then how do you look at the ticket. So we go to very detailed of what you're supposed to do as an inspector on the job site, and then after the contractor finishes the work, how you prepare the document for the IDR, which is the inspector daily report. And I took out one of my class to a paving operation one, so that was very good. So that is the approach in our class. So who is this for? Right? This class, as I mentioned, for technician, engineer, technician. So it can be anybody, young adult, graduate from high school, who doesn't want to go to a 4-year degree, or anybody who are looking for a career change. They can take this inspection class and the documentation certificate from Urbana-Champaign, and they can work as a technician, be an inspector, or anybody who are a senior contractor who is in the contractor now, working as a contractor in the roadway construction as a contractor. They already know how to build a road and what needs to be done. All they need to do is to learn how to inspect, and then the paper side, they can be inspector. Because there are people who are in the mid-50s, closer to retire age, but in the contractors, being a contractor is getting too physical for them. So this is a very good transition for them to be an inspector. Or anybody who's looking for career change in the professional environment. So as for engineer, mostly it's for less than 3 year experience, right? Never had any experience in construction. And also, as we all know, a lot of time as an engineer we learn the theoretical, but we never really understand how to apply that in the real life. So this class will be a very good training for the student to learn how to apply what they learn from the documentation class into in a real life situation. And especially is it prepared the summer intern and the entry level for the first construction season as well. So after they be certified and then have the class and understand what the role and responsibility are, there are projects that they can work on, right? They were potentially working for a company and then do some resurfacing job, PCC sidewalk, roadway construction, and facility improvement. And or they might be working on a bridge project or a railroad or airport. So as far as a technician, the career path and advancement in this field, right? So after you get the documentation certificate, you'll be entering the workforce as an entry-level inspector. And obviously, you go work on as an inspector, you work on multiple projects over the years. And somebody, if they're interested in material, they can take the HMA level 1 and level 2 and CCC as well. With that, if they're interested, they can become a material technician, coordinator, or a manager in the future. If somebody who's very good at documentation, organizing paperwork, they can also go to the route of documentation technician or auditor in the future. And for engineer technician, over the year with experience, if you are good at what you do, you can eventually move up to be a senior inspector or maybe a resident tech in the future who will be the one who administrates the whole contract, just like a resident engineer with a different title. So for engineer with a bachelor's degree in engineering, similarly, they will enter as an inspector, and if they like the material, they took the HMA and PCC level 1 and 2, they can also be a material engineer, a coordinator, or a manager, with the experience in the field. If you stay in the construction side, you will also eventually move up to be assistant resident engineer or a resident engineer who was administrating the project, right? But with, over the year, with 15, 20-year experience, you can move up to be a project manager or a department manager for a firm. And if somebody is interested in marketing, they can also be a business development in the company. So pretty much, sky's the limit. It's how much you want to advance in the career and what area you want to do. So I would like to share some success story here. So the reason we are doing this presentation and we try to convince the industry to open their mind and open their opportunity to technicians, because it works, right? If any of you used to work for IDOT, you know that for 10, 15 years ago, IDOT used to bring in technicians. They let them work in construction and material, and then they train them up to be resident tech. We have a lot of resident tech now. So at CAT, we have our own success story. So Alam Zaid came to CAT engineering with not engineer, no engineering degree, no construction experience. He took the documentation certification and he joined us as an ET1, and now he's an ET2, and he's been with us for 3 years. Over the 3 years, he has been working on IDOT projects, resurfacing, bridge rehab, and tollway project. And he also obtained, the certification for HMA level 1. He also was trained with IDOT CMMS for documentation and e-builder with the tollway. And, so he is taking all the classes and training and taking on all the different projects to build his experience and his knowledge. And then last year we host about three classes last year with Hasia, and so we have 3 students also obtained the documentation, certification, and is working as an inspector in the consulting and working for IDA and Tollway project right now. So, so Malik, he came to our class with one season. He was working on the Tollway construction project, and he was having a hard time passing his documentation and certification. So when he come to our class, and he was like, I went to the job site, and then the RE told me to go and do a data check. I don't know what that means. So he's like, no one ever trained me what to do, how to do. So after he took the class, he had a better understanding of what's the expectation and how he's supposed to do his job. And he passed. After the class, he got his documentation certificate. And then Moeen, he also came in with no experience, and he took the class and he passed documentation, and now he's working for us as an inspector. Musa is he has a master's degree in mechanical engineering, and he took the class, and he also passed documentation. Now he's working for us in Joliet, working on Renewal Bridge project. So some of the feedback, from the students, they really appreciate the hands-on experience because now the information is very new to them. So with the hands-on experience, it really teach them how to, to bridge the gap between the theoretical and in the field. And we also teach some class with IDA, they engineer, and they also mentioned that they wish they have the class before they start working in construction. So why do I do that? Why do we do that? I love what I do. I love to be in transportation, and I always promote the career in transportation. It's my passion. And also, we can provide another pool of, inspector to be in DOT industry, in the construction side, and helping to bridging that gap in our construction field for engineer. We're not just bridging the gap to fill the engineering technician, we're also bridging the gap from the engineer side to teach them how to apply the theoretical, what they learned from the classroom in the real life scenario. And we like to give back and share our experience, and so we want success for everybody. So coming up, we have a class with Hasia. Hasia is hosting another class in April, first week of April. They're working on the flyers, so once we have that, we'll announce that later. And also, Illinois Asian American Civil Engineers is also hosting the class. So Hasia is hosting the class for technician, which is a 6-day class. And IAAC is hosting the class for engineer. It's a 3-day class. So, any question? That's end my presentation. Anybody? Yes.
You said you teach the class in Champaign-Urbana?
No, the Urbana-Champaign, that's the online class that is taught by Urbana-Champaign. It's the Illinois Center for Translation. I teach in Chicago. So Hasia, we teach in-person class that is in Chicago, Chicago area. Yes?
Have you talked with these two organizations before, and how well attended is it usually?
Okay, so with Hasia, last year we taught 3 different classes. We had one in February, June, and November. So the average size of the class is about 15 to 20. So I want to keep this class size, 20 is a max. For the reason being, I want to make sure that everybody have the chance to ask questions, understand the material, and then when we go out in the field, it's easy to manage, right? And then I don't want to have so big of the class, and I would just go through the slide, and I don't think people will really learn. Because what I do, I take the student out, they lay out the project, it's funny, right? I have the same sidewalk, I have 3 different teams, I told them to go, I separate them in teams. And when they come to the classroom, I told them to draw out what they measure in the job site. 3 teams have 3 different answers. so that's how I told them. That's when I said, okay, I identify what's the difference between each team, so they know how they're supposed to measure and how they're supposed to draw out when they look at the sidewalk. Because we have a big piece of sidewalk, right? But as an engineer, there's a different way of how we can cut the shape. We can cut trapezoid, triangle, or we have half circle, half curve. So that is the thought process. As an engineer and technician, need to learn and need to identify that when they're in the job site. Yes.
How do you sign up for the class?
Hasia normally they make a post on LinkedIn, and they also in the website. You can go to the website. They have a Hasia, I think, University. and then they have all kind of training there, and it will be in there, and then you just click and then follow. The requirement for Hasia class is pretty much you have to be 18 years old, and you have to have a high school diploma. That's it. Yes.
We recently sent the young technician to go through class and it went pretty good. Was wondering if you were gonna expand and get into more specific, like construction situations, like storm sewer, are you still keeping it just general?
So right now we started off just do HMA resurfacing for the reason being majority of our project are resurfacing. 80% of the project are resurfacing, and that's the most of the job that entry level we get when they start. We would like to expand, right? Other topic, but it's gonna based on the demand, right? So if we see that there's a demand, then we will put a class together. But right now we're just doing HMA for now. So even though with the HMA, right, us still struggling to convince the consultant industry to send the people to get trained. So we still trying to break that. Anybody else? So yes, go ahead.
I might have missed it. Was there a fee?
So for Hasia, they get a grant. So actually, it's free.
It's free to the students.
Yes, free to- so what they do once you register with Hasia, they have a phone call you to interview, asking about I think that if you demonstrate that you're not a millionaire, you can take the class. So I have like people who are working, or people who just graduated from college, they're in the class, or people who like even business owner, they're taking the class just to explore the option and the idea. So. Nobody else? Any questions? So I have a question for the audience. So if you can raise your hand, how many of you guys in construction? Were in construction? Okay, that's pretty good, 50%. How many do you see the struggle, the problem that we have mentioned here right now? Good. So what are you guys doing right now in your company how to resolve the issue? For example, you cannot find inspector. What are you guys doing? Are you still hiring engineer? Or have you guys think outside the box looking for alternative? Inspector. And how about anybody facing the issue, the problem of, I understand you guys are all busy, right? Training. How often do you guys send your inspector or your young engineer to training to prepare them for the job before you send them out to the job? No? Or you just put them there and let them learn? You scream when you die. Yeah, I know. That's how I feel when I start my first construction contract. I was like, I feel like I'm in the jungle, and my eye is the king, the Lion King, and I'm alone. So, yes.
So what do you do with the inspectors or the engineers? They always during the winter time. We have 3-4 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not working. But all of us supposed to do, we take the engineers then to be our usual assistant employees.
Yeah, so.
They do the design and then they go to do the real work. Winter time they come to the office and they are up and running again. So what do you do in this case for just construction firms?
So I think there's a problem and issue with all our small firm, right? We only have small project, probably for 3-4 months, because we are small. We don't get a big percentage from the client, and we're struggling to keep our inspector busy in the winter time. So if you're lucky, you have some project that's going to winter, but I don't know the solution, But what I try to do my best is to send my inspector to get different training and keep them part-time, something better than nothing, right? If they prefer to be 100% totally off, it's good for me. I don't have to keep them overhead. But I think there's a lot of time we are facing this issue every CM firm we have.
If you keep them part-time, then somebody else they can go somewhere else.
Yes, so
That's the issue.
yes, it is a problem. So unfortunately, we live in the Midwest. The weather permits. So yeah. Okay. Anything else? Anybody have any questions?
You use that time during the winter to train them, so you stay out of the house.
Yes. I mean, like, I'm a small firm.
Yeah.
I see for me personally, our culture in CAD engineering is we try to train our employee, we try to ask them what are the vision, what they want to do, and then we try to give it to them, right? For example, I mean, we're a small firm, everybody does everything, right? My inspector, they help me with proposal, they help me with marketing. It's based on your person interest and, I mean, other than engineering, if they have extra skill set that we can be used, we brought them in and do things like that. So like my star inspector, Alamjay, he's good with technology and computers, so he's my IT guy in the winter time. And he's good with graphics, so he's my marketing, helping me proposal. So I just gonna use him wherever I can, right? So pretty much is everybody bring in what they contribute to the company and we work together. So. Yes.
Based on the response to the room, I think we all understand the need for construction inspectors and industry shortage. What's your experience been from a client relationship? You know, because obviously with CAD, you're interacting with your clients from a IDOT, tollway, municipal level to get them to understand that we are also trying to teach people and bring people along, versus when you have a contract and you're asked to provide one inspector on a job to an RE or somebody that doesn't work for your company. And then you send somebody out that, yes, they have a class, but they don't have any experience. And then what does that look like for our industry of being able to provide people that are experienced, or if they're just throwing foreign bodies at us? You know, that yes, they're certified, yes, they took a class, but that doesn't mean you really know what to do. So have you experienced any negative feedback from clients, or are they embracing it from your perspective?
Based on my meet and greet, when I talk to clients, they all like the idea of the inspector because it's low cost compared to engineer. And they know that for an inspector, if you train them to be an inspector, they will continue being an inspector. They will not want to be RE right away, they will continue. And so they like the concept of bringing inspector and technician. And they also very lenient now because they understand there's a lot of demand, there's not enough people. So they're also very lenient too, especially in District 2 and 3 actually. I talked to them, they say, Leanne, we're okay with you bringing in somebody who are new, right, first season, might not necessarily have to have documentation certificate to be an intern or just to start the season with us. But as long as you have one of your senior staff to be there to support them and guide them, right? You don't want to just send a brand new engineer out there, a brand new technician out to the job site all by themselves without any supervision, because the client is not responsible to train your employee, you're responsible to train your employee. So supposedly, if I have a project, right, if I'm, like right now, what we're doing, right, we just get a call yesterday from our prime that they want us in April 1st. And our game plan was, I have an inspector who started, like Moen started with me last year, first season, he's still very new. So we already planned that, once he starts in April, like we'll start, I will talk about the team that when they start, I'm gonna have Alamjay to go to job site with them for the first 2 to 3 weeks to show them what is what it's supposed to do, how you start your day, how you coordinate with the classes, pretty much train them and the way we train in the class. And once we see that they are comfortable and independent, then we can weigh ourselves off the job. But we don't charge either for us to be trained there. So that's the investment us as a company is put in to invest and train our employee. Because if we don't do that, we just send our instructor out there, they're on their own, they don't know what they're doing. They're just gonna make mistake and they're just gonna ruin our reputation. And it's a small business, we cannot afford that. So it's so great to have great feedback from the IDA RE say that I want your guy is good. So that's why we've been doing this for everybody we bring on is we use our own time for the first month to be out there to train them on our own to make sure that they do everything correctly, and then we provide support so they can feel better, so they can, whenever they have question or problem, if they're not comfortable to talk to the prime or the either IE, we are there to be support them, to teach them. So, yeah, District 2 and 3 are open up, they're open, they say, sometimes it might be their first season, it might not be what they want to do in the career path, so it'll be a good tryout for them and the company to figure out if that's what they want to do. So they're okay, they're open to the idea of bringing new people, as long as someone is there to responsible and train them. Yes?
I had a question about international students. Do you have experience with trying to bring on engineers that are looking for sponsorship? We've been getting a lot of resumes of international, they have master's degrees and they're really, well educated, but maybe don't have experience in construction. But their focus is, I really want a company that's going to sponsor me. And we're a small company, so we're not able to do H-1B sponsorships. Do you have any experience dealing with those types of people? How to bring them on, maybe how to get them to see the value?
Well, so Mustar is a perfect example. He's an international student. He got his BS in India and he gets his MS in mechanical in UIC, right? So we are going through the process. We haven't made started the process because I think they can work the first 2-3 years without having sponsorship. But after that, we have to sponsor them. And also, IACE have been providing great webinar to educate the student and the company about the visa process. And I say, Musa here, HBM, they have expanded. They've been sponsored so many students. So if you can chime in, Musa?
It's kind of an expensive process too as well. So it costs about $15,000 depends. Everything goes smooth. But sometimes it's done less smooth. So we have about 40 people that we sponsor.
Yeah.
Right now in the process. So it's a lot of time. It's a lot of time consuming for the management. But I help my sister to spend a lot of time with the lawyers and stuff like that. And you have to have a lawyer for sure.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and we try to explain to them that, we're a small company, you can get really good experience, but we're not open to sponsoring. And then they just,
And sometimes when you get them that H-1B visa, then they're free, they can leave if they want to. So that's the other issue too that we face.
well, we tried one year and we didn't have a little bit of experience, so I was just curious.
Yeah, I don't know, we're going through it, so we'll learn as we go. And I guess for me, I feel like personally, because we interact a lot with international, I think if you sponsor them, I hope they will, understand that we're taking extra step as an employer to bring them on board and go through the process and hopefully they will stay with us, right? But I do see that too, especially for the international, they want to work, they're eager to work, and they are great workers. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you guys will start hiring an inspector and follow our LinkedIn post because we post all the class coming out on our website too.